What's up, YouTube? We're back for another top 10 for starting your collection. Very simple. We are starting with PlayStation 2 this time. PlayStation 2 is one of those systems that is like one of the best sold in the world. Between the ability to watch DVDs and the multitude of games that came out on it, unlike the Wii, there was less shovelware. And there was a lot of good games. So I made a list of 10 games that are $15 and under that should be pretty simple to find, or if you do find, they're cheap. Some of these are going to be launch titles, some of them are going to be cheaper, so let's just dive into it, starting with Gun Griffin Blaze. Gun Griffin Blaze is a Working Designs game. Now, if you don't know Working Designs, it was a studio that was well known for RPGs and stuff of that nature. Unfortunately, they ended up closing their doors in the early 2000s. For those who don't know what Gun Blaze is, it's basically a first-person mech shooter that was a launch title for the PlayStation 2. You can get this game for about $15 with no manual, which is what I got. I picked this up for like $5 way back when, but you can find this for about $15 with no manual. So, if you want a good like game that mech first-person shooter, you can customize. It's like an RPG at the same time. And always look for Working Designs, by the way. That's always a good title. But highly recommend this for $15. Number 9 on the list is Katamari Damacy. This is a fun little game. I guess that would be the best way to put it. It's basically, you're the prince of the cosmos. You are the prince of the king of the cosmos. And it's your job to go around and basically roll up and make these big balls. And there's like different stages to each level. You start out small, and by the end of it, you make the world like into a giant ball, and even the universe into a big ball to make stars, because some of the stars have disappeared out of the sky. So it's your job as the prince of the cosmos to go and collect these and make these stars and put it back in the sky. It's a fun, silly, wacky game, and for $13, you can have hours of fun and play against your friends to see who can get the biggest, because it's always a metric of how big you can make it in such a short amount of time. It's a good, like, fun party game. Even though it's not multiplayer, you can pass a controller and see who does better. So if you're looking for something a little wacky and you want something to stand out in your collection, I highly recommend it. And there's plenty. These have gone on to PlayStation 3, Switch, PSP, a bunch of different like systems. So highly recommend if you want something different. The next one on the list is a series that has taken over the world by storm. I believe they're working on a show, or if they've done a show, but it's currently on this gen consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series X. God of War. You can get the first one on the PlayStation 2 for $15. Complete in box, no issues whatsoever. You are basically Kratos, which is basically a survivor of the Spartans who has sworn his life to kill the gods, and you basically go kill the gods, and you fight all their like followers and all these different mythical creatures to go and kill the gods, and that is your goal. Just go through this game, find the story out, find out what happened with each gods, their backgrounds, and then just go from there. Very good, solid game. If you haven't heard of God of War, look it up. It's very good. I mean, you see the gameplay going on. Sitting at number 7, we have another cult classic known as Devil May Cry, where you follow Dante, who's a funny man who goes around killing demons, who's trying to prevent a demon uprising in the year 2000. 24 years ago, he tried to prevent it. Well, you know, there's about 5-6 games, and I believe it's on PlayStation 4 and maybe coming to PS5. There's rumors, and I'm not sure if it's actually on there yet or not. This is me recording off the top of my head, but a very good hack and slash, good music, good solid graphics for the PS2. Some still hold up. Some scenes, like cutscenes, still hold up to this day. And for $10, complete in box, you can get Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3, to be honest. I think 2's like 12, 3's like 15, I think, somewhere around there. Like, they're dirt cheap, or they might even be less than that. So you can get all 3 games for dirt cheap. But I highly recommend Devil May Cry as one of these games for you to start your collection with, because you can find this. This was printed a lot and very sought after, so you can find this everywhere. Number 6 on the list for $11, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. You follow our boy Snake, who has to go start with this offshore cleanup facility that was seized by this terrorist group that calls himself the Sons of Liberty. Well, basically you unfold into this story, and this very good, well put together story that was done by Kojima, and yeah, it's a very good game. The Solid Gear series goes well on to PlayStation 4. It has a lot of good hype behind it, very solid. Even to this day, the PS2 graphics hold up, in my opinion. Unlike, you can always say they hold up, but comparative to nowadays, nothing holds up, but it still just looks good. for what they did, and then, you know, the cutscenes and everything. It's a very well put together. This Metal Gear stories are so good. It's so well placed, and for $12 you'll get at least 20 plus hours of fun and lots of replayability, because there's multiple ways of completing missions. So I highly recommend, and like I said, for 12 bucks you get lots of fun times with you and your friends, especially if you just sit around and play. Also, I just want to point out that I love the fact that there's like a manga with this too, on top of everything. Like, this is in the manual, by the way, so like you get a little backstory of how he ends up in that place. It's funny. Like, I really, this was creative back in the day. They don't do this anymore. No one includes manuals with the games anymore. It's just a piece of paper, but I really think back in the day this was very, very interesting. Number 5 on my list for $12 is Tekken Tag Team Tournament. I distinctly have a very good memory with this. When I was young, me and my brother went to go meet family at a Outback Steakhouse, and then when you walked into the left, there was a TV up there. They had Tekken Tag Team, and every time we went, well, every Sunday, because it was like our thing, we ended up playing. This game has such good memories and always put a distinct imprint in my mind for the fact that you could always fight and then switch out into the new teammates. But Tekken's a very good, just standard fighting game. A lot of people still play Tekken to this day. It is part of EVO. It is part of major other tournaments, and people still highly regard Tag Team, given certain spaces. A lot of people complain about it, but also another bunch of people love it. But for a good party game that you can play up with 4 people, 2v2, with a multi-tap, very good game, very solid, graphics pretty good, fighting wise, it could be better, but for cheap, very good party game. Sitting at number 4 on our list is going to be Burnout Revenge for the PS2, which is $15 complete in box. If you want a good game where you race cars, crash them, destroy things, make memorable moments, get high scores, compete against your friends, this is definitely up your alley. The Burnout series has been around for a long time, and one of my favorites is Burnout Paradise, which I recommended on the PS3. So if you want something memorable, very good, very hot, very sought after, well, not price-wise, but for collection purposes, essential part, I definitely recommend Burnout Revenge. A game series that has persisted since the PlayStation 1, known as Crash Bandicoot, is one of my number 3 recommendation. Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. This has been remade onto modern systems. This is a cult classic. A lot of people love it. Some say Wrath of Cortex might be possibly one of the best ones for Crash Bandicoot. But you basically play this little cute little guy right here on the cover, Crash, with, you know, his buddies, and you go through a multitude of different levels, from driving stuff to like riding minecarts to just basically completing levels to stop Cortex and doing whatever you have to do to go through this platformer. It's a very good, solid game. I say 15 to 20 hours easy. You want to complete everything, maybe 30 hours, get 100%. There's definitely some skill to this, but it's easy to start off with, and I really do think it's a fun, memorable game for your collection. So for $12, I really recommend Wrath of Cortex. Final Fantasy is one of those games that a lot of people have always put on their list as one of their favorite RPGs. But Final Fantasy X is one of those that has been reprinted on every system minus the Xbox 360. It is on the Switch, PC, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Xbox One. It is one of the world's most favorite RPGs when it comes to Final Fantasy X. It's about 69 hours if you do all the side quests as well as the main story. For $8, keep in mind, this is $8. For $8, you get 69 nice hours of gameplay. If you want to complete everything to full max, it's 145 hours. It has memorable cutscenes. People like designed the weddings around this game. People have cried multiple times. I've cried playing this game. This is one of the best games. And you're thinking, why is this at number 2 and not number 1? Well, we'll get to that. But if you want something amazing, world-changing, something that's been people begged for to come on newer systems so they can keep on playing, get Final Fantasy X. It's one of those things that will stick with you, and its journey is so good. And you get iconic laughs and iconic moments that people reference, especially in the gaming world, all the time. Now, I have a list of honorable mentions that didn't quite make it. One of them being Mercenaries, which me and my brother played all the time when we were younger, for $9. Grand Theft Auto 3, it's the Grand Theft Auto series, might as well get 3 for $9. Red Faction, one of those games that kind of laid under the radar and has a cult following. I really think it's really good. I think you guys might enjoy it, for $8. Midnight Club Racing. It's a racing game. Very good music. Very good solid play to it. For $7, I think it's pretty good. Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30. Kind of a clunky first-person shooter based around the 101 Airborne that dropped in during Normandy and World War II. Follows their stuff. Very good. For $7, I think it's pretty good, especially for the jank. It's pretty funny. ATV Off-Road Fury 3. Good, fun, mindless game to just drive around, do tricks, and do stuff for $5. Fantastic. Jack and Daxter 2, which we're currently playing through on my stream. I think is about $10 right now. Maybe it's higher. And yeah, those are some very good games that didn't quite make the list, but I still think they're at least worth mentioning and talking about real fast. But for number one of the RPGs that people rant and rave about, Kingdom Hearts. I played through this game. I have multiple childhood memories. I have a full playthrough if you don't know what it's like. But this is basically a good introduction to RPGs. This is a very good way to introduce them. Very simple, very straightforward, great music, memorable moments. This game has taught people how to read, how to like fix their like punctuation and how they speak, how to present themselves, get them out there to talk with people. This game has done a lot for people. And I truly think this is one of those games that people should get. And I believe it's like $12. And Kingdom Hearts 2 is cheaper. But I really recommend picking up this. And there's collection series out there for like modern systems too. Ignore the fact that I just picked up a PS2. But the Kingdom Hearts story so far has all the games that you can play on the PS4. It's on the Xbox Game Pass now. It's all over the place, and it's well worth it. People love it. And there's a reason why people love it. I stand by it as someone who played through it recently and got past the childhood trauma. I will link the video probably somewhere up in the cards. But those are my games for you to recommend for you to go pick up for your PlayStation 2 collection if you're trying to start. There's a lot of games out there. A lot of good games are cheap on the PlayStation 2. Same for the Wii, which will come at a different time. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what games you recommend down below. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.